Johnson here on the Johnson Talk Show, and I'm about to interview some of the survivors of the Tempest. First up is Ariel. Let me tell you a little bit about her, though. She's a magical being who was in debt to Prospero for 12 years, and it took a little time to find her, but we found her under the flower where the bee sucks. All right, now everyone give it up for Ariel. Alright, Ariel. Yeah, we've been getting a few questions that everyone's been wanting to ask you. And just before we did this, I just wanted to tell you that things might get emotional, so I'm just going to give you some tissues in case.
Thank you.
Alright, well, let's just start firing away. First question. You had so much magical powers, and you did everything for Prospero. With your powers, why didn't you ever leave?
Well, I mean, it feels like I'm in debt to Prospero because of he freed me from that evil witch Sycorax, Caliban's mother. And for those 12 years, I was stuck in those trees. If no one had ever saved me, I don't know what I would have done. Those 12 years I owed to Prospero, so I'm gonna obey him and serve him well.
Sounds like a pain in the buns.
At times.
What kind of tree was it, anyways?
I believe it was an oak tree.
Oh, yeah, maple's kind of sketchy.
Yeah.
Alright, we'll get to the second question now. Alright, you were doing everything for Prospero. How did that make you feel? Didn't you think it was weird that he had control over you, but you were doing everything for him?
Well, Dale, it's a good question.
It's a great question.
Yeah, obviously. I did feel a little strange because at some points I wanted my freedom and I felt like I deserved my freedom, but at other times, I just felt like I owed Prospero from those 12 years of Sycorax. So, but, sometimes, you just gotta do what you gotta do.
Do you ever feel like Prospero was taking credit for what you did?
At times it felt like that. At times it felt like when I deserved my freedom. I actually remember a time when I went up to Prospero and I confronted him about my freedom, and he came back to me with "Dost thou forget from what a torment I freed?" That was it.
He freed you from a torment, though.
Sycorax is pretty bad.
I won't pester you anymore. We got other people to interview.
Okay.
So. Is it a fish or is it a man? No one's really sure. Let's get him down here. It's Caliban. Alright, Caliban, let's get started. Do you feel like you had it the worst on this island out of everyone?
I felt like I did. Prospero was having all his plans come into fruition. And I was stuck just gathering his wood, and I became under the influence of Stefano and Trinculo, and I was completely powerless against Prospero, and Miranda and Ferdinand were having their way playing chess. It was awful.
Still a bit of shaking up. You need some tissues?
Probably.
You might. Sorry, we got some.
Thank you.
Let's get to the questions now. How do you feel about Prospero taking the island away from you?
It's a feeling that you get before the event. You feel like you're in power and you're in control. But when the power is sucked away from you, it's a very traumatizing experience. I'm sure it's how Prospero felt when Milan was taken away from him from his brother.
Pretty harsh, isn't it?
Very harsh.
Alright. Would you say it's a win-win situation at the beginning when you showed him all the treasures of the island and he gave you language?
I'd say it was a good situation where I would learn his language, be able to communicate with him and Miranda, and he would learn the locations of the good things on the island, and I'd be able to do physical labor for him. It was a win-win situation in the beginning, but it became worse because my inner desires came out from Miranda. She's beautiful.
She's very beautiful. Let's get to the next question. What did you decide to do after all of the events on the island?
After the events on the island, I asked Prospero to keep me on the island, but I couldn't stay alone. So I asked him to keep Stefano and Trinculo there as their punishment. When they're punished there, I can make them do my bidding. I felt in power again, and I'd say it was a happy ending for me. I was very happy with the outcome.
All right, Caliban. Do you believe that the language that Prospero and Miranda gave you is a constant reminder of who you were versus who you are now?
Yeah, I feel like the language is the only difference between the.
The savagery you were in before?
I mean, it depends, like, what you define as savagery. I define it as being normal. But I guess to them it's not enough. I have to learn their language. So, but the only benefit for me is that I can curse at them.
It's a great note to end on, Caliban. The Dale Johnson Talk Show is sponsored by Caliban's Hardwood. Come to your local hardware store and get some. Alright, now for our next guest. Some of you guys might think of him as the worst brother ever. But let's get him down here, and his name's Antonio. Come on down, man. Before we get started, I just wanted to bring this up. We had your brother on here earlier.
Oh, alright. Yeah, let's keep going with these questions.
Yeah, let's go. Alright. Do you feel remorse after the events on the island?
I do feel a little remorsed, but he didn't really seem very sincere, but he did forgive me, so I gotta give that to him.
Alright. Was there any specific reason that you didn't say much when he was apologizing?
It was really awkward. I mean,
You
wasn't
haven't
much.
seen him for 12 years.
Yeah. And then I didn't want to make anything worse because there was already so much tension between us, so didn't want to make it any worse.
Alright, and what were your motives to killing Alonzo?
Alonzo, pretty easy target. He was on the island, wanted the power of Naples, so I could have even more power, and the island made a perfect spot.
I mean, he was pretty weak considering he was still crying about his son. He thinks his son's dead.
Yeah.
Alright, so why Gonzalo? What would that benefit you?
When he's gone, I'll have all control of Naples, so I'll be perfect. I'll have all the control. No one will question me.
Sounds like you're power greedy.
A little bit, you could say that.
That's fair. Alright. It's enough pestering you, but... Finally, our last guest here. He was trapped on the island with Caliban, Miranda, and Ariel. It's Prospero. He's known for causing the Tempest. Let's give it up for him. People in the crowds have been wanting to ask you some questions. You done with that?
Yeah, sure.
Alright, the first question that we've received is, you decided to give up all your powers and you even announced it openly. But some people in the crowds were still questioning your motives, and I countered that by saying that you broke your staff and drowned your books. What do you have to say about this?
Well, I did get rid of my powers. I abjured them. And I guess the main reason I did this was because I had overwhelming guilt. Because I was trying to get revenge for Antonio kicking me out, but I mean, I was getting revenge on someone who had less power than me because I was magical, I had magic, and he didn't.
What do you think was going through their heads when they first heard your name, when Ariel was threatening them?
Well, I mean, they were probably intimidated because, like, you know, I'm so powerful, and just Ariel being there as a harpy with her huge wings, they were probably pretty scared, trembling.
Some people might call you cocky then.
Yeah.
Okay.
They can call me that.
I have personally. This is one of my questions that I've always wanted to know. Do you truly forgive your brother?
Well, kind of. I mean, like, I forgive him because he's family, and I was just raised. You should always respect your family. But also, he did a horrible thing to me. He kicked me out of my power in Milan, and he just ruined my whole life. Like, I was Duke, and now I was sent on a rotten carcass of a boat to live on an island for 12 years. That's just... I'm still mad at him, but I guess I forgive him.
Do you think he had the right to kick you out? Because it's just a word on the street that you were just too focused on your magical powers and reading your books, and you weren't really taking care of the city.
Well, I mean, I was the Duke, so I guess they could have rebelled if they wanted to, but they still loved me, because I did nothing bad.
You did nothing good.
Yeah, but I didn't hurt them, I didn't make them scared.
Alright,
So, I mean, they liked me, so it's all good.
Okay. Of course, it's for you. I don't want to make any more emotions erupt, but it's all right. Thanks everyone for watching today's show. Let's get all our guests out here. That you hit the worst on the island. Take a seat, man. Here comes your Let's go. I will. That was neither of us who left. Who left?
It was full of noises.
What's up, man?
I'm a lefty. Never did. Oh, there's my cousin up there.
That. See, get comfortable. So, here's why are you laughing? Why are you laughing?
I told you.
Why are you laughing?
I see Robert.
I didn't even ask the first question yet.
I just see Robert. His face, they go from a straight face to a smile to burst out laughing in like between 3 seconds.
Alright,
And
get
I-
back up here.
Oh God.
My start got on time.
Morgan, you should close your eyes.
I know, we should put
I'll keep one eye open. Let's tape one eye shut.
No,
Furkan.
Get up there, Furkan.